Hi everyone, welcome back. So, as part of e-commerce microservices architecture, as of now, three microservices we completed: user microservice, product microservice, and order microservice here. Okay, for YouTubers, we are adding one additional video. Okay, for enrolled students, you can access all the services. For YouTubers, we are adding one interesting topic in user microservice. It's very, very important. Everyone should be aware also this topic here. That a topic is in real-time Java project, we are adding Spring Boot interceptors. Okay, way to implement Spring Boot interceptors in your user microservice here. Okay, and what's difference between the filters and what is the differences and use cases I am going to discuss in today's session here. It's very important. We will implement this use case in our user microservice as well and have a look now. Okay, basically, what is interceptor? Basically, whenever you are making an API request, the request will reach to controller directly, right? Before reaching to the controller layer, if you want to modify your request and response via interceptors, that is possible. We have a lot of use cases we have using this approach. Interceptors allows us to modify HTTP request when, before, and after. When it reach out to the controller, you have a user controller, right? We have a product controller, order controller. Now, when you send a request will reach to controller directly. But I want to intercept the request before reaching to the destination. That is the where interceptors came to the picture. Where it will be used in real time examples means it is used for the logging, authentication, security, performance monitoring. In a lot of use cases, we can use the interceptors as well. Basically, before interceptors, when we are working with servlets and JSP, we have a filters, right? Interceptors can work at the Spring MVC level. Before reaching to the Spring controller, interceptors is useful. Before reaching to the interceptor, still if you want to make a raw HTTP request, then we have called filters here. Mostly filters is used in the real time at the security layer, JWT authentication. Anyway, as part of our real time Java project, even we will use the filters at the security, JWT authentication, where you can do using filters only. Okay, so both are different use cases, interceptors and filters both here. Okay, okay. Now our target is in our microservices. When you make an API, the request will reach to controller layer, service layer, and DAO layer. Your request reaching and response, how much time it taking? I want to log the request. What kind of request you are making? We can use for the logging. We will try to implement logging, your request and response status codes, how much time it is taken, everything we will be discuss as well. That is mainly about example. Imagine you are building a bank application or e-commerce application, right? If it is a bank application, more security, right? You want to log every request and response for security reasons. Instead of writing logging code in every controller, you use an interceptor here. Now, if you see here, now, everyone knows in MVC architectural style or REST API, this is where you are creating the controller layer here. Controller layer. But if you see now, this is your postman or swagger. When you send a request, normally request will reach to filters. Filters, it will be talked to dispatcher servlet. Then the request will go to interceptors. Then the response also same pattern will come to the picture. Before, after filters, your interceptors is sitting here, guys. You don't want to interceptors, you can implement filters. Now in the real time when you are making an API call, okay, security is the first place. Now that code will be write it in the filters here, not in interceptors here. These filters will be executed one request per filter. We have a different kind of filters also. We have the main use case we are discussing about the interceptors here. This is for the high level diagram where you can visualize interceptors in the architectural style here. Okay, now let me jump. If you see differences between the filter and interceptor here, how we can do this activity here. Now imagine these both are, you can ask a question. Still lot of people has a confusion about filter and interceptor. It is basically, read the point, both are used to process HTTP request and response, but they are operating at different levels in the request life cycle here. This is the difference between the filter and interceptor in Spring Boot applications. Not only Spring Boot, I mean say our MVC architectural applications here. See, level filters servlet level works before Spring MVC. Now here MVC level work with Spring framework. This interceptor concept came in the Spring framework. Filters before Spring. Again, Spring is work top on the filters only, guys. On servlets only. On top of servlets, these frameworks came to the picture. The main behind this one is a servlets here. On top of servlets, we have called filters your request and response. Interfaces Java X dot servlet dot filter. But whereas interceptors org dot spring framework dot web dot servlet dot handler interceptor here. Execution order is it will run before and after the servlet, include static files. In servlets we have some static files, UI files or something, right? Now it is run before and after controller methods. What type of controller methods? Post mapping, put mapping, delete mapping, get mapping here. Request and response. Access to request data. It low level granular access before Spring MVC processing. If you want to handle that request, a raw request and response, it is at the Spring MVC level. We can modify model and view and handle logics as well. When you are sending a request, I want to add some header. Okay, some unique ID I want to add, some time I want to add before processing your request. So where you can do that, it's a common logic for all the controllers and all in all the projects. You can implement at the interceptor level here. What are the use cases in the real time for authentication, CORS, compression, logging, and security? Now interceptors, logging, request modification, response handling, and authentication. Both has a different use cases. Common use cases also we have. This is the how the different use cases for filter and interceptor in the Spring Boot applications here. Okay, now you got some idea, right, about a filter and what is a interceptor here. If you go in detail, lot of other things also there. The main requirement, as part of our Java project, already we started number of microservices, right? Now in user microservice, I want to handle the interceptors, how to use. We'll have a look in today's session here. Now interceptor has a three methods. What are the methods? Pre-handle, post-handle, after completion. These are all called life cycle methods. In filters, we have a do filter. If you take once request per filter, like every filters or interceptors has a life cycle methods, right? What are the methods? Pre-handle method means run before controller, useful for logging authentication. Post run after controller, useful for modifying the response. After completion run after response is sent, useful for error logging. If any errors are happen, if you want to track something, we can use these life cycle methods here. Okay, and sometimes you want to join in this course, right? For who are non-watching, not at enroll, guys, you can enroll the course here. and you can access all Spring Boot and REST API videos, microservices, product and order, and assignment videos also we are uploading here, and quiz questions and source code. Complete source code in the Git repo we are providing as well. For YouTubers, we are adding Interceptor video here only. Yes, you can watch it here as well, guys. Okay. Yeah. Now, see here, when to use what. If you need to modify raw http request before MVC process, you need security checks, then we can use the filters here, guys. But whereas in case of interceptor, you need to log the request before and after controller execution. I want to modify the response before it reaches the response, then interceptors is useful. The main target is this one, guys. While we are discussing about security, then these filters also will be discussed this topic as well. Main security checks also will do by using JWT filter check, and that time here. Okay. Next, for as part of the live coding, we need to create logging interceptor class. This is the first step, and register the interceptor in Spring Boot. That means in MVC configure style, I need to basically register. Okay, I need to register this application here as well. How I can do that? Everything I'm going to discuss as well. So no worries on this topic here. And then we will be start the application and we'll execute here the live coding here. Okay, we'll try to implement here as part of the user microservice here. What I can take, let me add implement interceptors in Spring Boot in user ms for logging. This is the one. We have a database relationships, JSON, endpoints. This document will be share you after your enrollment source code and everything, guys. For YouTubers, just you can watch it if you are interested here. This is the topic here. Okay. Let me start our development. Okay. Let me pull my source code. So just a minute. Let me discard it here. And where is that application? Let me pull here. Okay, this is the order microservice. As of now, ignore user is done or product is done, now user service. Okay, now how to implement this one? The first step, what you can do, this is the user microservice, right? Now here we have a helpers are available, address mapping helpers, and a couple of even as part of the address controller, two methods we implemented already here. Okay, if you go to the service layer, um, uh, save the address and find the address. I give an assignment to you guys for update the address and delete the address. If I see the response back, then it will be a good, guys. Okay. Yeah. Now what we can do, let me create a package. Let me create a package. What is the package? We'll take as a interceptors here. It's a global level, basically interceptors at the global level. Okay, now I want to create a class. Okay, you can use any class like a logging interceptor or user logging interceptor here. This is the one I created my own interceptor class. Okay, now here we have one method available, just implements, that is a handler interceptor. This is a interface here. Okay, now here let me use at the rate component, and then we can use slf4j for the logging annotation here. If you click on handler interceptor, this is a interface. See here, interception point before the execution of a handler. Okay, if you come down, see, there is one method. In interface, default methods are popular. Everyone knows, right? These are all default methods. See, what is the method? Pre-handle method, post-handle method, after completion. These three are the default methods here. Even if you don't implement, these methods will be executed. It will not log anything to you. This is simply interface here. But In interface, when we have a default methods, I should override manually here. Now go to interceptor. Now execute those methods here. See, use control space, type pre-handle, no control space. Automatically it will suggest to the methods to you. See here, pre-handle method, then post post handle method, then another one called after completion. Three methods are available in this interceptors here. Okay, now let me format the code. Now these are the, see, this is the default code where it is performing. Okay, now this is a boolean data type. Always pre-handle means I should make it as a true condition here. Okay, post handle, okay, this is also fine. It's a void return type, and after completion this is also a void here. Okay, now let me do some piece of code generation here. The same class you can use for all the places here. Now what I want to do, whenever the request is reaching to this place, whenever the request is reach, okay, first whether these methods are executing or not, we'll try to identify here, then later on time we'll hand our logic here. What I should do, log dot info, which method, pre-handle. Okay, now let me copy post handle, then let me copy. If any exceptions, then this will be happening here. Okay, this method. First, we'll try to see whether these methods are executing or not. If executing, then we'll write our production ready code. We'll try to implement here. Okay, first go to user microservice. Let me start. Microservice about to start. User microservice 8085. Now go to the postman. Now this is a create a user. We have a lot of services. Now here I want to create, suppose let me make some any name, any name. So let me provide some name, Varshi. Okay, let me provide a Varshi at the rate gmail.com 7801007. Guys, this is our admin contact number. If you want to enroll in these courses, you can ping to this number as well. Okay, now Varshi, let me provide email ID same, and password I want to provide many attributes here. Just let me send the request. 201 created successfully in the database. Okay, now now let me verify in the log. Are you able to see? No, not yet. Why? Because just you created one interceptor only, but this interceptor we should register into our WebMVC configurer. So how to do that activity, that is the second step we should perform. That is the what I told, creating interceptor it will not sufficient, we need to register. How to do registration, click on class, let me create one interceptor config. Okay, now here there is one method called implements webmvc configurer. In this method, this is also kind of a interface here. If you see in this method, this is also an interface. Are able to see a default method? What is the methods? Configure path matching, configure content negotiation, asynchronous support. Lot of default methods also available. See here, add Spring MVC lifecycle interceptor for pre and post processing of controller method invocations and resource handler request. Interceptors can be registered to apply to all requests or limited to subset of URL patterns. Even these interceptors will work, which APIs also we can handle as well. More control we have. And see, lot if you use control O, all default methods are available here. Out of that, in our use case called add interceptors method, see, there is a registry we have. Now let me go ahead with interceptor. Let me implement here. Now interceptor add interceptor. This is the method here. Let me remove this one, not required. Now inside this registry, see here dot. If you see here, we have called add interceptor, web request interceptor. We have a of two methods are available. Now this is the one I should do. Now how to do this interceptor means which component you want to load. You need to make an auto wire here. See, logging user logging interceptor. This is the one. Just you need to make sure auto wire here. Okay. Now what should I do? You need to add. That's it. This is simple approach. Later, I want to show you how to apply specific endpoints also we can do. But I can do lot of things, girls. But whoever watching this video, at least one like is required. Your comments is required. How it will be helpful to you is really helpful for your interviews, or it's important topic or not. How it is useful, I need comments, guys. We'll see how many of you will comment on this video so that I can do more and more to you guys. Okay. Now see here. Uh, Now registered successfully here. Now this is a configuration at the rate configuration. At the time of application startup, it will load this specific pattern as well. Intercept object should be created, right? And it will be register the interceptor as well. Now let me change. Okay. Now this is started. Let me clear the screen. Now have a look here. What I will do in 8085, right? Now let me go ahead and create another user. Suppose Java Express. Okay. Java Express channel at the rate gmail.com. This is our admin number, and I want to keep username as same here. Okay, send it here. 201 created. Now see here, if you see in the logs, are able to see pre-handle method from where before reaching to controller, this method is executed. Post handle after successful response, post handle, then after post handle, after completion. All these are all called life cycle methods are executed here. Okay, this is the one where you can able to do this one. Now next step, what should I do? Production ready code. What we need to do this activity. Now see here, whenever this method is executing, let me remove this one. See here, I want to execution time each controller how much time it is taking. I want to understand this approach here, how I can do that. Now see here, I want to click start time. Okay, I will take some variable system dot current time milliseconds, how much time your request is started. Inside this request object, I want to set the attribute. Okay, now let me take start time. What is the start time it took? This is the one where I can do this activity here. Just 1 minute, guys. Okay, now this is for the start time. Okay, next I want to log this information, log dot info. What are the information I want to make? See here, what are the attributes from the request? Which type of method I want to print the method? Request dot get request URI. See, lot of methods are available here, guys. Okay, request URI. I want to print. I want to print the remote address. See, remote host and remote address. There should be some difference for both. We'll see remote address. Okay, and what time it is printing. Some time zone also I want to add. Suppose instant dot of epoch milliseconds. Just I want to start time it in the milliseconds. See, 1 2 3 4 methods. Okay, now I want to follow some pattern. What is the pattern? request. I want to print the method one, first parameter URI. Okay. Second parameter, next IP address. Third parameter, then start time. Four parameters just I'm adding to here. That's it. This your request will be kept here. Same pattern for this one as well. Post handle method. Now what should I do? Long start time. Just you need to your request you have let get attribute. What is the attribute name? At how much time it is completed, that I want to find out here. So for that purpose only, it should be the long data type. We need to do the typecast here. Long is the typecast. Okay. Now long duration, how much time it take? System dot current time milliseconds minus start time. You will get the time duration. Now see here, log dot info. Okay, same pattern. How I done? What are the parameters? Response dot, what is the status code? I want to request dot get, for which request this is happen, how much duration I want to print. Now see here, response. Okay, now I want to find out the status, then URI I want to print it, then duration just I want to print in the milliseconds. That's it, done. Now exception, if any exception not equals to null, when you are finding anything exceptions are happen, some use cases exceptions, right, that you can print log dot error. Also we can print it here like error, just I want to print exception occurred for URI, which URI it is upper, and what is the URL, we need to write it here. Now let me see. So now occurred for the URI is one parameter, and then let me go ahead for another parameter called error parameter. Two parameters I am choosing here from the request get request URI. Already we have all attributes here only available. Then I want to print the message. What is the message you are retrieving? Same thing here. That's it. Now it's completed. Now this is a production ready code where you can add everywhere. We can add it as well. Here we can add some kind of a unique tracking ID in set attribute we can keep, and we can print request tracking, all the things we can perform as well. Okay, let me start the application, then you can able to see full. Now clear the screen and let me create with another email ID Java1 Express Java1 just to make sure and send it here. Request is created. Now if you see the logs, carefully observe here. See here, request, post request, API users, IP address is printing masked IP address, and start date, start time, at what time it is started in UTC time zone. Save method, response method. See 201 status for which you are 437 milliseconds it took to complete your request. After completion, any request, any response, this request and response will be printed as part of the logs. It is kind of a tracking purpose here, guys. Okay, so that's all for today's session. And still, if you want to enroll this microservices project to access all the videos, means this is our contact number, reach out in the WhatsApp, and this video will be available. If you enroll, the benefit you may get remaining videos as well, order, product, payment, all the things you can access for enrolled students here. For YouTubers, yes, some topics where you can able to learn without joining this course as well. But if you need fully end-to-end security, Docker, Kubernetes, everything required, then definitely you should enroll in this course. Okay, so that's all for today's session. Thank you, guys.